What I'm about to show you will change how you see motorcycle dealers forever. Those shiny showrooms packed with bikes? Total illusion. That limited time offer sales pitch? Complete bullshit. Today, I'm exposing the dirty truth about dealership inventory that they'll never tell you themselves. We're talking about financial desperation, shady accounting tricks, and how you can use their broken system to walk away with the deal of a lifetime. If you've ever wondered why last year's models suddenly get huge discounts, or how dealers can afford to give away free gear, you're about to get schooled. The dealership illusion. Let me shatter your first misconception right off the bat. Those gleaming showrooms, packed with every model and color option, aren't a sign the dealer is killing it. In fact, it's usually the opposite. It's a giant red flag that they're in financial quicksand. I learned this the hard way back in 2017 when I almost bought into a small Triumph dealership outside Portland. The books looked like complete garbage, but the showroom was packed with every Bonneville, Thruxton, and Tiger you could imagine. I couldn't figure out why they had such terrible cash flow with so much inventory asset on the floor. Then the accountant dropped the bomb on me. Here's the reality that absolutely floored me. Dealerships don't actually own a single one of those bikes they're selling. Not a damn one. When you walk into a dealership and see 50 shiny motorcycles on the floor, the dealer hasn't paid cash for them. They're all financed through what's called floor planning. Floor planning is basically a specialized loan just for dealer inventory. The dealership borrows money to get those bikes from Yamaha or Harley or whoever, agreeing to pay back the loan over time with interest rates that would make your eyes water. It's like a mortgage, but for motorcycles. And just like a mortgage, there's a monthly payment that comes due whether the bikes sell or not. They're also paying for the premium showroom space it takes up, the insurance to cover it, and the staff time needed to clean it, maintain it, and move around the showroom floor. When inventory starts lingering too long, these costs snowball into a financial avalanche. And here's the real kick in the teeth. Unlike Walmart or Target that can ship unsold merchandise back to the supplier, motorcycle dealers are completely screwed with what they order. Manufacturers don't want their bikes back. Once it leaves the factory in Japan or Milwaukee or wherever, that's 100% the dealer's problem. Honda doesn't give two shits if you can't sell that batch of CBR 600RRs you ordered. This creates insane pressure to move inventory, especially as seasons change and newer models start arriving with updated graphics and features. The industry rule of thumb is to sell a motorcycle within 60 to 90 days maximum after receiving it. After that, those bikes start morphing from assets into flesh-eating zombies that drain money every single day. That Ducati Panigale that's been sitting untouched in the corner for 237 days, it's not waiting for the right buyer, it's actively bleeding the dealership dry. At some point, they'd literally be better off pushing it into a lake than keeping it on the floor. Crazy, right? The stats are worse than ever. With interest rates through the roof and consumer confidence in the toilet, more bikes are sitting unsold for longer periods than any time since the 2008 financial crisis. I saw internal reports showing models like the Yamaha MT-07 or the Harley-Davidson Pan America with excess inventory levels of 150 to 180 days worldwide. That's triple the target inventory levels. Some Indian dealers still have 2022 FTR models gathering dust alongside the 2024s. That's the hidden economic nightmare behind those rows of untouched motorcycles you see when you're cruising past the local dealership. It's not just about bikes not selling, it's about a business model that financially waterboards dealers for guessing wrong about what riders actually want to buy. And believe me, the dealers are feeling the pain. Forecasting failures. So why the hell do dealerships end up with so many motorcycles they can't give away? It all starts with forecasting, which is basically a fancy word for guessing what you people want to buy next year. And oh boy, do they get it wrong sometimes. I got to tour Kawasaki's product planning department back in 2019, and it was mind-blowing how they try to predict the future. Motorcycle manufacturers spend millions and millions of dollars developing new models. They've got entire teams of analysts poring over sales data, rider demographics, industry trends, focus groups, and even monitoring Instagram hashtags to figure out what bikes to build and in what quantities. These forecasts eventually become production orders that get shipped to dealers whether they like it or not. But here's the problem. Forecasting is basically corporate fortune telling, and it goes catastrophically wrong all the time. A motorcycle that looks like a guaranteed hit in the boardroom can faceplant hard in the real world for all kinds of reasons. The economy suddenly tanks, and nobody's dropping 25 grand on a touring bike anymore. Or gas prices go nuts, and suddenly everyone wants 70 mile per gallon commuter bikes instead of gas-guzzling cruisers. Maybe your Japanese competitor releases a practically identical bike but undercuts your price by $1,500. Sometimes freak weather patterns deliver the rainiest summer in 50 years across the Northeast, killing the riding season. Or some influencer with 3 million followers decides adventure bikes are over and cafe racers are the new hotness. Let me give you a perfect real-world example: electric motorcycles. Companies like Zero and Harley-Davidson with their Livewire dumped ungodly amounts of money into electric platforms around 2019 and 2020. Their analysts were predicting huge growth and a massive shift away from gas engines. I remember sitting in a presentation where they showed graphs of electric bikes overtaking gas sales by 2025. Well, guess what? It's 2025 now, and adoption has been slower than a turtle in molasses. Then there's the adventure bike fiasco of 2021 and 22. Every manufacturer bet the farm on adventure bikes being the next big thing. BMW, KTM, Harley, Ducati, they all flooded the market with these tall, expensive Swiss Army knife motorcycles. The problem? They completely misread the market size. Turns out, not everyone wants to pretend they're going to ride to Patagonia on the weekends. Most riders still prefer their comfortable cruisers or nimble sport bikes, leaving dealerships with rows of $20,000 adventure bikes collecting cobwebs. Even simple stuff like color choices can absolutely murder sales. Ducati released a bright yellow Panigale that their Italian designers thought was gorgeous, but American riders couldn't run away fast enough. Meanwhile, the matte black version had a 6-month waiting list. Or there's the infamous Kawasaki Brown debacle of 2020. Whoever thought brown motorcycles would be the next big thing should have been fired on the spot. The fundamental problem is that once these bikes roll off the assembly line, there's absolutely no going back. They're shipped to dealers who get stuck with the impossible job of selling them, no matter how completely the manufacturer screwed up the forecast. And when that 60-day window comes and goes without a nibble, panic sets in. That's when dealers start getting really creative, and sometimes a little shady, trying to move that inventory before it financially ruins them. The price slashing game. When motorcycles start aging on the showroom floor, the first and most obvious play is to start slashing prices. But don't be fooled, this isn't your typical holiday sale discount. This is financial damage control, like throwing cargo off a sinking ship. I've watched this play out countless times. It starts innocently enough. A $13,000 Kawasaki Z900 gets a little $500 manager's special discount after sitting for 60 days. No big deal. But then as weeks turn into months, those price cuts get deeper and increasingly desperate. By day 120, that same bike might be marked down to $11,299. By day 180, it could be sitting at 10 grand with a must-go tag on it. I've literally seen previous year models marked down below dealer cost. They're losing money on every sale but hemorrhaging less than if the bike sits another month. Manufacturers aren't completely heartless. They often step in with programs to help dealers move aging stock. You'll see factory-backed incentives like 0% financing for 36 or sometimes even 48 months, which is insane in today's interest rate environment. Factory rebates ranging from $1,000 on smaller bikes to as much as $3 to $4 grand on high-end touring models. Free extended warranties that would normally cost $8 to $1,200. Hidden dealer incentives where the manufacturer quietly gives the dealer $500 to $1,000 cash for each unit sold. Employee pricing promotions that let everyone buy at the dealer's actual cost. These factory programs give the dealers breathing room to negotiate without eating the entire loss themselves. But where things get really wild is at the individual dealership level. I've seen some absolutely desperate tactics from dealers drowning in aging inventory. They create these bundled value packages that are basically just price cuts in disguise. Free riding gear, zero cost maintenance for 3 years, $1,500 on free accessories, or dealer credits toward future purchases. Something most people don't realize is that price slashing happens in strategic waves. The first wave is modest, maybe 5 to 8% off MSRP, targeting the most motivated buyers who were already interested but needed a little nudge. The second wave cuts deeper, usually 10 to 15% off, trying to pull in riders who are considering competing brands or models. By the third wave, when bikes have sat for 200 plus days, prices often drop below what the dealer paid. They're literally losing money on every single sale, but freeing up desperately needed cash and floor space. The psychology of this whole game is fascinating. When I worked at a multi-line dealer back in 2018, we had weekly meetings where we'd agonize over when to start cutting prices. Nobody wants to be the first dealer in town to slash prices drastically because it tanks the perceived value and pisses off customers who paid full price a month earlier. But nobody wants to be the last sucker still sitting on 12-month-old inventory either. That creates a weird domino effect in local markets. Once one dealer breaks ranks and starts advertising fire sale prices, every other dealer has to follow suit or watch customers drive across town for better deals. I've watched a Honda CBR 650R that was $9,000 at every dealer in the Portland area suddenly available for $7,900 across the board after one dealer got desperate. The bike's actual value didn't change at all. What changed was that the cost of not selling it became unbearable. Turning new into used. Alright, now we're getting into the really sneaky stuff. When even aggressive price cuts can't move a bike, dealers turn to what I consider their most brilliant hack: transforming brand new motorcycles into used ones overnight. This might sound completely backwards. Why would you deliberately devalue a new motorcycle? But it's actually ingenious. It's a loophole that gives dealers pricing freedom they don't have with new inventory while avoiding the appearance of desperation. Let me walk you through how this strategy actually works. You've got a brand new 2023 Yamaha MT-09 SP that's been collecting dust for 180 days. The sales manager suddenly decides this bike is now part of the dealership's official loaner fleet. When customers bring their bikes in for service, the dealer hands them the keys to this pristine 0-mile loaner while their own bike is in the shop. After a few weeks, the bike accumulates maybe 300 to 400 miles, just enough to reclassify it as used. Nothing has really changed about the motorcycle. It's still essentially new, but that designation makes all the difference. With that simple paperwork maneuver, dealers can now price the motorcycle completely outside manufacturer guidelines. While a new bike's price is severely constrained by franchise agreements, MAP, minimum advertised price policies, and competitive market rates, used bike pricing is the Wild West. That MT-09 that was gathering cobwebs at $11,599 can suddenly be advertised as a demo special at $9,499 with 340 miles. And guess what? It usually sells within days at that price. I remember a struggling dealer in Sacramento who was sitting on 11 unsold Triumph Street Triples from the previous year. They made every single employee, salespeople, techs, even the receptionist take a different bike home for 2 weeks. They all came back with a few hundred miles, got detailed, and were instantly transformed into slightly used demos at $2,800 off original MSRP. All 11 sold within a month. Another trick that every multi-line dealer I know uses is the employee demo program. Sales staff, mechanics, even the finance manager and the owner's nephew suddenly got assigned specific low-selling models to evaluate for a month or two. It serves multiple purposes. The staff actually learn about the product firsthand, making them better at selling it. The bikes get properly broken in with varying riding styles, and after 45 to 60 days with 500 to 800 miles, boom, it's magically a pre-owned model they can discount aggressively. But the absolute master stroke in this whole shell game is the Certified Pre-Owned program. These factory-backed programs are a stroke of evil genius. Dealers take these basically new motorcycles they couldn't sell, put them through an exhaustive 150-point inspection, which is honestly just them checking that everything works, which it does, because the bike is actually brand new, and offer them with extended warranties. They're essentially creating a premium used category that lets them slash prices while pretending they're offering some special value package. For buyers, these CPO bikes are legitimately incredible deals. You're getting an essentially new motorcycle, often with more warranty coverage than if you'd bought it new, for thousands less. For dealers, these programs are the pressure release valve that keeps them from drowning in floor plan interest. What makes this approach so brilliant is that it preserves the perceived value of new models in the marketplace. A dealer can't mark down a new bike by $3,000 without pissing off the manufacturer and triggering a race to the bottom with competing dealers, but they can sell a demo for whatever the hell they want. A Ducati Monster that couldn't move at $13,995 new for 200 days suddenly becomes the featured bike in the pre-owned section at $11,495, complete with factory warranty and still smelling like it just came out of the crate, because it basically did. The great dealer swap. Sometimes the problem isn't the motorcycle itself, it's just sitting in completely the wrong zip code. A motorcycle that's been collecting dust for 200 days in Miami might sell in 48 hours in Seattle. A color that's poison in New York might be gold in Colorado. I've seen this firsthand so many times it's ridiculous. This geographic mismatch has created one of the motorcycle industry's most active behind-the-scenes shell games, dealer swaps. These trades are happening constantly out of public view, with complex networks of same-brand dealerships frantically shuffling inventory around the country, trying to find the right market for bikes that won't move. You would not believe how drastically regional motorcycle preferences vary. Even colors perform radically different by region. The lime green Kawasaki that's kryptonite in conservative Midwest markets, it's the first sell in Miami or Los Angeles. Here's how these swaps typically work. A dealer in Nashville might be drowning in sport bikes they can't move, while a dealer in San Diego is selling every sport bike they get in 72 hours and can't get rid of their cruisers. These dealers connect, usually through a regional sales manager or dealer forums, and work out trades. I've seen deals where a dealer in Chicago traded 3 slow-moving Ducati Scramblers to a Denver dealer for 1 high-end Multistrada plus some cash. Everyone wins. These aren't casual arrangements either. There are entire private Slack channels, Facebook groups, and even dedicated inventory trading platforms that dealers use to shuffle bikes around. The actual logistics can get complicated. Shipping a motorcycle across the country isn't cheap. It typically costs $600 to $900 per bike using dedicated motorcycle transport companies. But when you're paying $170 per month in floor plan interest on a bike that hasn't moved in 180 days, spending $750 to ship it to a market where it might actually sell starts looking like a bargain. Manufacturer regional offices usually help coordinate these swaps. They have visibility across their entire dealer network and can spot opportunities to rebalance inventory before bikes start aging too severely. The big multi-state dealer groups have a massive advantage in this game. If a corporation owns 6 Yamaha dealerships across 3 states, they can freely move inventory between their own stores without having to negotiate with other dealers. Freedom Power Sports in the Southwest does that constantly. Their Texas stores always have excess sport bikes that they can ship to their California locations, while their California cruisers head to Texas where they sell faster. Now, swaps aren't a perfect solution by any means. Beyond the obvious shipping costs, there's risk of damage in transit, delays, paperwork nightmares, and the possibility that a bike that won't sell in one region still won't sell in another. And eventually, if a model simply isn't selling anywhere, even the most strategic relocations won't fix the fundamental problem. That's when dealers face the nuclear option, sending perfectly good motorcycles to the auction block. The final stop, auction. When all else fails, price cuts, reclassification, swaps, unsold motorcycles head to auction. This is the industry's emergency exit, hidden from public view but processing thousands of bikes weekly. I've been to several auctions, and it's brutal. Those perfect showroom bikes? At auction, they're rolled through concrete warehouses in seconds. Mannheim, owned by Cox Automotive, dominates this space with huge facilities nationwide. Their Atlanta operation can process 200 motorcycles in under 2 hours, all behind closed doors where only licensed dealers can enter. Auctions come in 2 flavors: closed brand auctions where bikes stay within their dealer network, and open auctions where any licensed dealer can participate. The price drops are severe. A $15,000 Goldwing might fetch just $9,000, while a previous year Ducati might sell for 60% of its original value. For dealers, it's financial bloodletting, but the math eventually makes sense. When a bike costs $200 monthly in floor plan interest, taking a $3,000 hit becomes the rational choice. The buyers? Independent used dealers, rental companies like Eagle Rider, online marketplaces, parts recyclers, and exporters shipping to developing countries. That rental motorcycle on your vacation probably started as dealer overflow. I know an exporter in Florida who ships hundreds of auction bikes to South America annually, where outdated US models are still premium products. Dealers hate sending bikes to auction. One manager calls it the walk of shame, but it's the pressure valve that prevents dealerships from collapsing under inventory weight. The manufacturer's dilemma. While dealers suffer immediately, manufacturers face their own inventory nightmares. During the pandemic, production planning went haywire. Cuts anticipating collapse, followed by ramping up during the boom, then massive oversupply when the market cooled in late 2022. When manufacturers overproduce, they have limited options. They can warehouse bikes until demand returns, but storage costs add up fast. They can redirect models to overseas markets, as that underpowered 500cc American riders rejected might be premium in Southeast Asia. Some manufacturers offload bikes to fleet buyers such as police departments, riding schools, rental companies at 30 to 50% discounts. Others create desperate dealer incentives. One Japanese brand offered dealers $2,000 cash per bike, plus free floor planning on an overproduced sport tourer. The absolute last resort? Scrapping. Industry insiders confirmed it happens with catastrophic failures. They salvage engines and electronics, then destroy the rest, similar to fashion brands burning unsold clothing rather than discounting. These issues create tension between factories and dealers. I witnessed a shouting match at a meeting between a dealer and factory rep over slow-selling cruisers. Some brands are adapting: Triumph with demand-based production, Ducati with artificial scarcity, Japanese brands exploring build-to-order. But most still operate with outdated models that consistently create these expensive inventory gluts. A buyer's market. If there's one winner in all this inventory chaos, it's you, the motorcycle shopper. We're in the best buyer's market I've seen in 15 plus years around the industry. Smart buyers who understand dealership struggles can score insane deals. I helped my buddy Tyler buy a leftover 2023 Yamaha MT-09 SP last month that had been sitting for 270 days. He walked out paying $9,800 for a bike that retailed at $12,399. That's over 20% off without even aggressive negotiating. The dealer was just relieved to move it. The oversupply situation has created a buyer's market where sellers desperately outnumber buyers. For anyone motorcycle shopping, this is basically a money printing opportunity. Here's how to spot desperate inventory. Look for non-current models. Bikes from previous model years sitting next to newer versions are begging for discounts. Watch for stacked incentives. When you see manufacturer rebates, dealer discounts, free accessories, and special financing all combined, that's clear distress signaling. The demo and loaner bikes are the absolute sweet spot. Nearly new motorcycles with a few hundred miles and full warranty coverage selling for thousands less than new. My Street Triple was a demo with 340 miles for $2,700 less than the identical new one sitting 5 feet away. Season timing matters too. Dealers get especially motivated in fall and winter when the riding season ends and they face carrying costs through slower months. Don't be afraid to make what seem like lowball offers. A dealer sitting on year-old inventory might shock you with what they'll accept. I've seen offers 25% below MSRP accepted without counteroffers when the bike had been gathering dust for long enough. This window won't last forever. As manufacturers adjust production and dealers clear backlogs, the market will rebalance. The extraordinary leverage buyers have right now is tied directly to the industry's overcapacity problem. New ownership models. As the motorcycle industry wrestles with inventory issues, completely new ownership models are emerging that could redefine motorcycling altogether. The traditional buy and own model is getting challenged by subscription services, short-term leases, and other alternatives. Companies like Twisted Road and Riders Share now offer monthly memberships giving access to different motorcycles without commitment. Pay monthly, ride whatever you want, and swap when you're bored, like Netflix for motorcycles. This subscription approach appeals especially to younger riders who prefer recurring payments over large purchases. It also solves one of the biggest problems for new riders, committing to one bike before they've developed preferences. Short-term leasing is gaining traction too. While car leasing is commonplace, motorcycle leasing was rare until recently. Now manufacturers are testing 6 to 12-month lease programs, helping move inventory while giving customers flexibility. I tried a demo-to-own program last year where you can take extended test rides lasting weeks. If you buy, demo fees apply to the purchase. If not, the dealer just gains some miles on a bike they can now sell as lightly used, potentially solving their aging inventory issue. Factory direct ordering is exploding in popularity, especially for premium brands. Instead of dealers maintaining huge inventory, customers order exactly what they want directly from manufacturers who build to specification. Indian Motorcycles is pioneering this approach, and their dealers love maintaining less floor plan inventory. These alternatives reflect a broader shift in ownership psychology. Many riders now view motorcycles as experiences rather than assets. Just like we upgrade phones or switch apartments more frequently than previous generations, the same approach is applying to vehicles. For an industry drowning in excess inventory, this evolution toward flexible ownership might be exactly what saves it from its outdated business models. Hey, before we continue, if you're finding this breakdown interesting, do me a solid and hit that like button. It really helps the channel, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next industry secret I uncover. Behind every unsold motorcycle is a human story. The sales reps watching commission checks shrink, the dealer principal sweated payroll, the technicians worried about reduced hours. These inventory problems affect real people first, balance sheets second. Dealership employees feel the pressure most directly. I've known sales reps who went from making $7,000 a month during peak season to barely clearing minimum wage when inventory stagnated. When price cuts hit aging stock, their commissions get slashed even further. Many dealership staff take second jobs in winter just to make ends meet. Service departments suffer too. New motorcycle sales drive warranty work, setup, and accessory installations. When front-end sales drop, the service department feels it months later. At smaller shops, even master technicians with decades of experience might find themselves with cut hours or handling other duties just to stay employed. I still remember the day a family-owned dealer near me closed after 32 years in business. They simply couldn't carry their floor plan anymore. 20 people lost their jobs, the owners lost their retirement plan, the community lost a gathering spot, all because forecasts didn't match reality, and inventory costs spiraled out of control. Managers face the impossible task of keeping morale high while dealing with financial pressure. They're stuck explaining to customers why the bike they paid full price for last month is now $2,000 discounted. It's a customer service nightmare on top of a financial one. For smaller, independent dealerships, inventory problems can literally be existential threats. While major dealer groups have financial cushions to absorb slow periods, mom-and-pop shops operate on margins so thin that 3 months of poor sales can end decades of business. Even at the manufacturing level, the impact is real. Production schedules get adjusted, shifts get cut, workers face uncertainty. Factories in places like York, Pennsylvania or Spirit Lake, Iowa are often the economic anchors of their communities. When production slows because dealers are overstocked, entire towns feel the ripple effects. Despite these challenges, passion keeps the industry breathing. Most people working in motorcycling aren't just collecting paychecks, they genuinely love the machines and what they represent. That passion creates resilience even when market conditions turn brutal. Every bike finds a home. The good news in all this inventory chaos? Even the dustiest showroom queen eventually finds a rider. One way or another, almost every motorcycle produced ends up fulfilling its purpose, carrying someone down the road with the wind in their face. It might take longer than expected. The path might include more price tags, locations, or odometer miles than planned. But the motorcycle industry has built remarkably efficient systems to ensure that machines built for riding eventually get to do exactly that. There's something weirdly poetic about it. That sport bike, ignored by dozens of shoppers, might become someone's dream first motorcycle after enough time and price adjustments. The cruiser dealers couldn't give away might become someone's forever bike after being discovered at auction. Even motorcycles that take the most circuitous routes, from factory to dealer to auction to rental fleet, still deliver the fundamental motorcycle experience. They still create that incomparable feeling of freedom and connection to the road. The business details of how they find their riders become footnotes in their overall story. What amazes me is how rarely motorcycles are truly wasted. Unlike many consumer products that end up in landfills when they don't sell, motorcycles are too valuable and durable to discard. The industry's multi-layered marketing system ensures nearly every bike eventually finds productive use. So while unsold inventory represents a significant business challenge, it rarely means these machines don't fulfill their purpose. Through price adjustments, reclassification, relocation, and remarketing, the industry makes sure motorcycles built for the road eventually get their chance to ride. And that's really the silver lining to this whole story. Despite all the financial gymnastics, corporate miscalculations, and dealer desperation, these magnificent machines eventually end up doing what they were designed to do. They get ridden, create memories, and deliver that unique motorcycle experience we all love. Dealer incentives you never knew existed. Before we wrap up, let me share some insider secrets about dealer incentives that most riders have no clue exist. These are the hidden financial gains that can sometimes make the difference between getting an incredible deal and walking away empty-handed. Manufacturers offer dealers what's called stair-step incentives, where they get substantial bonuses for hitting specific sales targets. If a dealer has sold 18 motorcycles and their bonus kicks in at 20, those last 2 bikes might be practically given away because the bonus is worth more than the profit on those individual sales. Then there's the mysterious holdback, a percentage of the motorcycle's MSRP, usually 2 to 3%, that manufacturers return to dealers after a sale. It's essentially hidden profit that creates negotiating room below what seems like dealer cost. Some brands offer conquest bonuses when a dealer gets a customer to switch from a competing brand. If you're trading in a Honda for a Yamaha, the Yamaha dealer might have an extra $500 to $1,000 in manufacturer money they can use to sweeten your deal. These programs explain why sometimes a dealer will suddenly accept an offer they firmly rejected a day earlier, or why end-of-month deals are genuinely better. It's not just sales pressure, it's actual money on the line. The smartest buyers I know use this calendar of knowledge to their advantage. Shopping during the last weekend of a month, the last month of a quarter, or December when yearly bonuses are determined, can unlock thousands in additional savings simply because the dealer has bigger incentives to hit their targets. Understanding this hidden money game might be the most valuable tip I can give you, because while the dealer is calculating bonuses, holdbacks, and stair steps in their head, most shoppers are completely unaware these programs even exist. Now it's your turn to talk. Have you ever caught a dealer in one of these inventory scams? Maybe you scored an insane deal on a demo bike with 12 miles on it. I want to hear your stories in the comments. And if this video just saved you from walking into a dealership blind, do us a favor, hit that like button like you're smacking down a lowball offer. Subscribe if you want more of these industry secrets videos.